as you can tell, I'm just going through drive-through Costa. It's like a day out, isn't it, at the moment? Oh my god, Black Forest and cream hot chocolate. Wow.
I want to get one.
Hi. Oh, Terry's chocolate orange. I'm just having a quick look at the menu. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do sugar-free gingerbread syrup?
Sorry, you asking me?
You do? I'll go for a gingerbread cappuccino.
And nothing else?
That's everything, thanks. Christmas selection is the best ever, isn't it? Like, there's nothing like Christmas coffee.
Here you go, sweetie.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling.
Oh, how sweet was she? Hello, hi. Today I thought I would do a come drive with me / Q&A, just catch up. I feel like I've got a lot to tell you guys. A lot has happened like in this past week. Like, us in the UK, we've gone back into another lockdown. It's been a lot, hasn't it?
A lot.
Just picked up my Costa and I had to drive around quite a bit just to find somewhere that was a bit more like secluded. The Costa car park, there was some like lovely gentleman sat directly opposite me, and it was really off-putting, and they sort of pointed out, oh, that girl's like filming in her car. So I just thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to keep a straight face. So anywho, we moved somewhere else. I went for a sugar-free gingerbread cappuccino. Very good. Must admit, I feel like it's half full, to be honest. Like, it's a lot of froth. It's really not quite full. Anyway, I'm not going to dilly-dally. I'm just going to get straight into it. I asked over on my Instagram just some fire away Q&A questions, and I just thought it was a good time like to catch up with you guys. Like, I feel like I haven't filled you in on like what's been going on recently, and so much has just been going on for all of us, I guess. Just going to dive straight in. I'm going to flick and just see what we end up. Someone has asked, why are you in Spain right now? I'm not in Spain. I'm in the UK. I would love to be anywhere but the UK, to be honest, right now. I think you may have got confused. So this morning Mason and I were like messing around, dancing in the kitchen, and we put a song on and we tagged like Ibiza because we were shouting. We were like, Ibiza 2021. Do you eat the same on training and rest days? Yes, I do actually. I don't eat any fewer calories on rest days, especially at the moment in lockdown. Like, I am not reducing any calories. I don't want to lose any muscle mass, so that is that one. Have you found your confidence has been affected since ending your cut? Love ya. Oh, thank you so much, that's really kind. Not necessarily. My physique's really changed. Like, since I did my first cut, I've probably got more abs now, but I'm not as lean, if that makes any sense. Or I've just built my like core muscles more, I'd say. I'll pop a picture here, and I'll pop a picture of like when I had sort of finished my cut, and you can see what I mean about that. So in terms of confidence, no, having abs or being leaner doesn't automatically make you confident like that. I think confidence comes from within. I don't think confidence comes from like a certain physique, if I've learned anything at all. One thing I would say is I definitely feel much sort of healthier, fitter, energetic like within myself when I am sort of leaner, because that's a reflection of like my diet and training and stuff. So I'm generally a lot fitter, but I don't think that's always to do with like the aesthetic, if you know what I mean. When I've bulked, I definitely used to feel a lot more sluggish and just heavier and a bit uncomfortable sometimes, but I think that's also like personal preference. And did you go to university, and if you did, what was your experience with it? I think I mentioned this in like maybe another Q&A a while ago. I did go to uni and I graduated last year in business management. I mean, I'm glad I've got the degree, but I do think I went for the wrong reasons completely. I just didn't know what I wanted to do at the time, and I didn't go to a campus uni, and I did transfer in my third year up to Manchester, so I wouldn't necessarily have had like the full-blown like campus uni experience, but I was going out a lot and I was working basically like full-time hours, and I was very confused at the time. Like, I probably should have taken a gap year or something before going there, and I don't think I would have gone. But my overall experience, like, I just think there was a lot of pressure. Like, I don't know if anyone else feels like this, but when you're in sixth form in school, everyone's like, oh, uni is the best years of my life and this, that and the other, and it definitely wasn't like that for me. I did stuff in between, like outside of uni. Like, I did a season in Marbella in Spain, like a party season, and that was really good, but like uni itself just wasn't for me. How do you fit cheat meals flexibly into your diet so that it's sustainable and cravings are less? So I don't have cheat meals. I don't really like that whole approach of cheat meals. I've mentioned this a few times, don't want to be like a broken record as well, but I think cheat meals can obviously encourage like a lot of restriction and binging, so I just prefer to have my favourite sort of things like chocolate in my breakfast every morning, and I'll have like basically like a dessert if you like. I'll always have yogurt with like sweet toppings, syrups and stuff, but just in like more sort of moderation, but definitely daily. So for me that works really well. I don't restrict anything. If I want a pizza one night, like I'll have a pizza. You can also fit that in with your macros too. Q&As honestly send me off on so many tangents. Like I hope I actually answer each question. Next one is about kids. There's a lot of kids and like marriage sort of questions. I don't really have like a set number. I've never been sort of someone that's like, oh, I want like 5 kids or whatever. Like I'm just quite open-minded. I think when I start having kids I'll just know from then onwards. I don't really have like a set number. Mason would really like quite a big family. I'm quite open-minded. I'll just see how I go, I guess, after hopefully my first child or something in the future, but definitely not yet. Is your glutes bulletproof? You know what, so the other weekend for Halloween, one of my friends was actually like, your bum is so hard, which made me laugh. I've never thought of like, I guess with lifting weights and being quite muscly, I don't feel like my bum's like massively jiggly, if you know what I mean. But there is some jiggle there, so I don't think it's bulletproof, no. The next question is, what contraception are you on? It's so unspoken about and important. Also, love you. So I'm on no contraception at the moment. Came off the pill a good few months ago now, and I feel like a new woman. The pill did not suit me at all. I was on Yasmin for a few years and that did suit me quite well, and then I went on the progesterone only pill. My god, that sent me crazy. Like I just felt like I was losing my head on that one. So I don't plan on putting any more hormones into my body again. There are other methods. There's a type of coil that doesn't have like an actual hormone. I believe it's the copper coil, but don't quote me on that. But right now I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to mess with my body right now. Other methods I guess are condoms. How do you schedule your days? Can you show us how you figure timings? Right, this one makes me feel a kind of way like, oh my goodness, this is something I've worked on for so long. Like I've tried scheduling my time and I think that's the best way, like just scheduling out a to-do list. But I'm by no means going to sit here and tell you like that it just happens like that in terms of like scheduling your time. I feel like it's something you've got to work on and build up. Say if you're someone who's never really scheduled your time, I wouldn't have the expectation that just like next week you're going to be able to schedule hour by hour, like say if you're working from home at the moment. But I just say start by like planning your day maybe the night before and putting them in like a bit of a priority order, and then sort of putting timings, I guess, how long things are going to take you. And even if you just set it, like say if you just set tasks for the morning and then set tasks for the afternoon, sort of go from there like step by step. I wouldn't recommend just diving in, because the amount of tasks or things that you expect to get done in say half an hour, and they can end up sort of overriding and taking longer. And then if it's the first time you've ever done that under like any sort of time constraints, like it's just a bit of a difficult one. So I just say take it steady, like separate, you know, your like mornings and afternoons. Make sure you've got a lunch break in there, and set like your workout times, maybe like morning or evening or afternoon, and sort of head in that direction. It's actually getting a bit warm in here, guys. How did you and Mason meet? So we actually met on Instagram technically. Yeah, we'd followed each other and I actually replied to a story and then we got talking from that. He loves telling that one actually. He loves saying that I messaged him first technically. No shame in that, ladies, though. I replied to a story. I don't think there was any like, there was no intention behind it. I thought he'd broken his leg or something. I think I was just like, oh, I hope you're okay, or something a bit along the lines of that. How are you doing? Sending you lots of love. That is so kind, honestly. Some of these questions and just like messages like that are just so lovely, and I'm very grateful to have you guys. Every single one of these messages is just so lovely and like genuine, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm all right. I've had like a funny 2 weeks, to be quite honest with you. Like just, I feel like I'll be able to explain it and it'll all make a bit more sense like when I do a video soon, but I just don't want to go into it yet. I just don't feel quite ready to just like come out with it. Yeah, other than that, I'm really good. I just think we're all, you know, we've all just got to support each other right now. Like it's a weird time, a lot of uncertainty and things like that. I was saying to Mason yesterday, I was just like, I feel like I'm ready for like a big change. Like I feel like moving somewhere or just doing something completely different. I'm in my 20s and stuff, and just feel like we've all been a bit robbed this year of time. I miss traveling, but I think at the end of the day we've all just got to be grateful for our health right now, like for our families, and just like the little things. I think this year has really been amazing for that, and you know, we've all just been able to, like, I feel like, get our heads down more so this year than any previous year. Like, say if we've been distracted with traveling or other things that don't like matter loads, like this year's really given all of us like some reflection time. So I think there's a lot to be grateful for this year, and I don't like being negative so much, but I do think this year's been difficult for a lot of us in all kinds of ways. Like, it's been a real time like to really sort of stare at yourself in the mirror and work on those things that maybe you've put off for years. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I worry that I just go off and waffles. How many hours a day do you work out? At the moment, my workouts are anything from like 45 minutes to about an hour 20. It just depends what I'm doing. Leg days always tend to take me way longer. Just because I think, you know, if you're like re-racking weights, moving stuff about, like I think that just takes a bit longer, and rest times if I'm lifting heavier. Next one is, what do you do steps cardio wise to maintain your cutting results? I'm not on a cut at the moment, I'm on a maintenance, and I'm not strict with tracking my calories at the moment. I have a lot of the same meals, like I always have my protein oats and things like that. What do you do steps cardio wise? For my steps, I try and aim for 10,000 steps. I was doing more, like probably between 10, 12, 15,000 like at one point way before lockdown when the weather was a bit nicer, but I've definitely just been sticking to my 10,000, which I think because it's got darker recently, it has been a little bit harder, to be honest, because I've been going around the block more because it's been super wet, and Penelope is the sassiest dog you've ever known. She hates getting her feet wet. I always call them her feet. I know they're her paws, but I feel like she's like a little human, so I call them her feet. She doesn't like going out in the rain. Like, honestly, the amount of times I've taken her to the door and I've had to leave without her because she won't come out on a walk. Just me and her went we went to the Peak District at the weekend, and it was like a real walk, and it was probably Penelope's first like serious walk. We're probably out for about 2 hours, like up a cliff, like at one point. At first she was like, I asked her to like jump over. I asked her, have you heard me? I'm talking about my dog. I was like leading her over this puddle thing, and she jumped over it, and she was being all sassy and like, what on earth are you doing, mum? Like, she'd never had to like scramble up the side of like this like hill type thing. 15 minutes in, she turned into this like wild dog and was just like having the best day of her life. Like, I've never seen her so energetic and just like she was just loving her life. She actually pulled me over 3 times. Like, it was over like obviously a few hours like whilst we were out, but it was so slippy, and there was a meme I shared on Instagram last week of like that guy like slipping over in the mud, and that was literally me. And I feel like it's my karma because I was laughing. I found that video so funny, and it was literally me. It was a bit weird though, because obviously I was on my own, and I was just kind of like, I was like laughing. I felt so strange because I was like laughing at myself like falling over. How much cardio do you recommend when you want to lose fat? So to be honest, I think use cardio as a last resort, because it's quite hard to maintain if you're spending a lot of time, like say if you're going out for like, imagine if you're doing 30,000 steps, like that would take like a good few hours of your day, and to maintain that is pretty unrealistic. Or I know for me, I would not be able to maintain that. So I'd find other ways. Like in terms of losing fat, I've never done excessive cardio like to achieve my results. I've just found putting in the work with my like weight, putting in the work in terms of like my weight resistance training is the best way for me personally, and it's not unrealistic. Like I'd never really recommend someone to do hella cardio. I think steps are really good, and it is good to add cardio like activity into your lifestyle, but not excessively every single day. So that's my sort of take on it. Trying to lose body fat, like make sure you have an idea of what you're putting into yourself nutrition wise, and before thinking about adding in loads of cardio. Next one is, what do you do when you have a down day, just not motivated? How do you avoid the guilt? I think this is something everyone kind of struggles with. If I've got a lot of stuff to do, and say if I've just had a few unproductive days, I've just felt like I've got so much on, I do struggle to take that as a day off. Like if I've got a lot to do, things like meditation, just doing a 10-minute meditation, which is just, I go on YouTube or whatever, it helps me so much just to come round, go like getting out for a walk. But say if you just really feel exhausted, then take a day to yourself. Or if you're taking a day as a down day, I'd say try keep off Instagram and do something like actually helpful for yourself, like reading a book, or like sitting in the bath, or just writing things down, like what's going through your mind, put some goals ahead and stuff like that. And I think that really sort of picks you up. And it's a nice sort of feeling when you're like investing into yourself, rather than just sitting for a day watching Netflix, like scrolling endlessly on Instagram, and by the end of like taking a day like that, you still feel the same. Look at it from a different perspective as well. Like take that day as like, rather than thinking, oh I feel rubbish, I'm just taking the day off, just look at it as like recharging. I always try and call it that. Steaming up in here. Next question, favourite protein powder flavour. So my current fave is vanilla cream in the Diet Whey. I will leave it linked down below, and I will also put I've got a discount code which gets you 35% off, but I use that every single morning in my protein oats with all the toppings. You cannot have protein oats without toppings like those. It's just my favourite thing. I was saying to Mason the other day, like I literally have protein oats every day, like I probably have done for nearly coming up to a year. Like I just never really crave anything else, which is the first time ever. Like normally I kind of get bored of stuff after a while. The next one is could you do some more healthy, less sugar desserts? Love the one you already have. Of course, I feel like that's my specialty. Like I love desserts, I like my thing. Like I much prefer making sweet desserts and like high protein desserts than I do actually like cooking proper meals. I eat proper meals as well, but I just feel like I just love getting creative with like desserts and stuff, because that is something I've always loved, and I've always had a sweet tooth. Are your eyebrows microbladed or natural? Because they always look on point. Love from Canada. Oh, that is so cool that you're from Canada. Thank you very much. So these are tinted and wax. I had them powder browed like well over a year ago. I did quite like it, but I don't know if I'd get it done again. As long as I keep on top of like my waxing and tinting, I quite like my eyebrows like that. As you'll have seen from like my older videos a few months ago, I did try the whole like fluffy brow, and to be honest, I think your eyebrows really shape your face. I love the fluffy brows on other people, but for me, I just feel like I suit more of a defined, like slightly thinner brow. At the end of the day, like your brows really shape your face. How do you stay mentally content when you may not be physically where you want to be? With this one, this is really interesting. Like if you think about it, like we're never done, if that makes sense. And I'm really glad, like as humans, like we're never finished. So for example, you never hear someone start fitness and get to their goal weight and then just stop, do they? So like there's never like an end goal, which I think is actually it's a blessing, isn't it? Because that's why I feel like I preach so much that like fitness is a lifestyle, because don't ever sort of put your happiness on thinking, right, when I get to X amount of weight, when I have abs, when I have a massive bum, I'm going to be happy and content and my life's going to be peachy, because you'll never get there. Just be grateful for having the opportunity to move your body, reminding yourself of that every day, and just know it's all good and fine to have goals and stuff, but just reminding yourself of like what actually matters the most, which of course is your health and stuff. And I'm not saying don't have aesthetic goals. I think aesthetic goals are also amazing, but don't get so caught up on an aesthetic, because I don't think it brings you like ultimate happiness ever, and can just be a massive sort of like negative cycle. So, and just make sure you're enjoying like the process. But yeah, I think just every day just practice more gratitude. Like I really like writing down like 3 things I'm grateful for, like in-depth things, and that really helps me just stay a bit more like grounded, I guess, rather than getting caught up in what I look like in the mirror every morning. Is any advice for starting the gym after doing home workouts? That's amazing that like I love that you've started your home workouts and now you feel like you're ready to go to the gym. I would say going with a plan, like when you do go to the gym. I have actually done a video on like starting the gym as a beginner. I will leave that link down here. Start steady, sort of focus on form, and just get comfortable, and make sure you're going with a plan every time, and like have a good playlist and stuff like that, and just take it day by day. Try not to compare too much to someone who may have been lifting for blooming 5 years or whatever when you're just starting out. And yeah, I really hope it goes well for you. Beginning to lift weights and doing less cardio, what changed your body the most? In a short answer, I'm going to say yeah, lifting weights has been the thing that has got me the best results in like physique wise, and I've gained so much strength. When I was just like obsessed with like cardio stuff, I was pretty like probably like at my biggest kind of weight, but that was also an accumulate. It's like, you know, you can't out eat a bad diet at the end of the day. So yeah, that is my sort of spin on that one. What part of your body took the longest to develop? Oof, my glutes. My glutes were so sleepy. That was definitely the stubbornest area to grow. Ever since I started warming up my glutes, that has really helped so much, like activating my glutes and things like that, for like weight workouts. What is your length and weight? So I'm 5'6.5". I actually think I've grown, you know. I may have grown a bit more, but I think the last time I measured myself was about 5'6"-ish, around that mark. And my weight, I'm anywhere from between 58 kg to 60 kg. I don't really weigh myself that often. Really wouldn't advise ever going off someone else's weight. I try not to sort of mention my weight too much because it's not really helpful. You can't gauge anything. Like I'm probably at my heaviest and my leanest I've ever been in my life, and yeah, when I was like sort of bigger I weighed less. So yeah, that just kind of shows like obviously muscle can often weigh more, and there's so many factors, like your weight fluctuates so much. What's the rough time you go to sleep and what helps you get enough and good sleep? So this is only something this year that I've really sort of like looked into my sleep, I guess. So at the moment I've been waking up at 5:30 and going to sleep like anywhere from like between 9, 9:30 and 10. It's usually more towards the 10 mark, which is really early. Some people, like some of my friends, like, Liv, like, why do you do that to yourself? And it's just complete personal preference. Like, I'm not one of these people. I'm never going to say to someone like, oh my god, you should get up really early in the morning. It's just finding what works for you. Like, I seem to work better first thing in the morning. Afternoons are like my no-go kind of time. Not always, and I'm never going to say like forever it'll be like that, but at the moment I just think mornings I work best. I love getting my workout in, getting some work done first thing, and like maybe I'll film some stuff in the afternoon, and then I also quite like working like later on, like towards the day, which is quite unusual. Well, not unusual, but just a bit different, and it is just finding like what works for you, and it's not like that all year round. Like this time last year I was probably getting up at 5 AM. Like, I don't know why, but when it gets darker or like comes into winter, for some reason I get up earlier, which just sounds so backwards. Whereas in the summer months, I was like, this lockdown, I was probably getting up at like 7. So I don't really know why. I just go with what feels best. Like, I try not to put too much pressure on questioning things all the time. I feel like I've been bad for that in the past. But yeah, that is the time I wake up and go to sleep. I try and get my 8 hours at least, and always make sure I have a lie-in on like a Saturday and Sunday. I think that's so important. Otherwise I feel like I just end up burning out if I'm not getting enough sleep and things like that. So that is that one. Tips for waking up early in the morning. I'm guessing you've seen my blooming dancing stories or something. I trial so much, honestly guys. Like, I've tried sleeping with like my curtains open. I did that for a while, but then I actually found, because it wasn't completely dark in my bedroom, I feel like I wasn't getting like proper sleep or like a deep sleep. I now sleep with the full, it's like a blackout room, but what I would say is make sure your phone is not next to your bed. Like, move it towards the door or something so that you actually have to physically turn your alarm off. Like, that's changed it for me, and I have to physically get out of bed. And also just like pre-planning my day the night before, so just having an idea of what I've got to do. That's that really, and just getting into a habit. Like, it's not obviously going to be, you're not going to jump out of bed every morning. Don't have like high expectations of that, but just get it done. You'll always feel so much better, you know, once you've got up. 2 questions. How do you spend an anxious day, and how do you deal with anxiety? I would just say, yeah, meditation's really helped with my anxiety, because all it is it's just sort of grounding your thoughts and taking a breather and just being still, rather than like, I know whenever I feel anxious I just feel busy in my head and I feel like I can't just focus on like one thing at a time. So I think just sitting for 10 minutes, like close my eyes and just listening to like a meditation thing, and then just writing out all my stuff on a piece of paper, like what's going through my head, and if I've got stuff to do, and just sort of putting things down. As soon as I've done that, I automatically feel like a massive weight is lifted. When you run, if you do, what do you listen to? Music, podcast, motivational speech? Nothing. You know what, it's a mixture of all of them. I generally listen to Mixcloud. I'll always listen to like hip hop, R&B kind of playlists. Like that's like my favourite, whatever I'm feeling like. I actually quite like a bit of Afrobeat, you know. I went on a few runs a few months back. I did listen to some podcasts, but not all the time. It depends what sort of like mood I'm in, and then sometimes I'll just turn my music off and just be in silence, like with my own thoughts, but that's more of a rarity. But mainly it's always like Mixcloud, like upbeat, like good vibes music, good energy. When did you first start to see visible abs? I actually think in everyone's like head, especially as females, like I think visible abs are different to everyone. Like I had like lines down the side of my stomach slightly for a few years, like they sort of came and went, and then it was only this year that I actually got like a few of the actual like six-pack kind of abs. So only this year, to be quite honest with you, like I actually started to see visible abs, but that came down to my like new workout routine and new diet tracking, that kind of thing. This one is any food allergies or intolerance. No, I don't actually have any food allergies or intolerance. I do think when I have like excessive dairy, I do think it affects my skin more than anything. I don't drink, I have yogurt, but I don't have that much dairy in my diet as much as I used to. Making a switch from like regular milk to almond or like oat milk has, yeah, I think that's really helped me out. But no, I don't have any like known tolerances, luckily. Where do you get your watch straps from? So I get all my like Fitbit Charge 3, that's the watch I've got, by the way. I'll pop that in the link down below as well. I get that from Amazon. This one, where are you from? I'm from Yorkshire originally. I'm from Bradford. That is where I was born and raised. Have you been sporty, athletic forever, or was fitness new to you? I feel like I've always been into sport in a sense, but never excessive. I used to do like rounders and netball, but when I was growing up I did want to do more, but my dad would have had to take me on a weekend and stuff like that, and that wasn't really an option at the time, which is absolutely fine. When I got to like, I think it was like 14, 15, I started riding horses, so that was like a massive part of my life. Spend hours every single day up at the stables, which was really active. So I think that's where it all kind of stemmed from, and probably how I got into fitness eventually. Someone said, please do a spiritual journey, how you meditate, journaling. I would love to do one of those videos actually. I'm trying to think when I could do that. Flipping heck, my voice is really going, you know, I'm chatting so much. I feel like I've answered so many questions there. But yeah, I hope you quite liked this video. I just wanted to go through a bunch of different bits and bats and catch up with you guys. But let me know what videos you'd like to see like over the next few weeks of lockdown and stuff like that, and I will leave all those links that I mentioned like in the description down below. If you haven't already, I would love you to stick around by liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.